Two half brothers. They share a father who was very tough on them when they were little, so they are estranged from him. Um, I think it would be fair to say that they hate him, or they think they hate him. And now he has died, and his last wish is that the sons attend the funeral. So that brings them together, and they head out there with different levels of reluctance and lack of enthusiasm. I have no idea where it came from. I wrote a shorter version of it originally, about a half hour, and it was only one guy. And he was already, at the graveside, and a couple of the characters were in it, like, the Reverend West and another woman who was but it was only 30 minutes. I didn't know how to expand it. And then one good day, years later, I thought, oh, two brothers. That's, real math. It's like, oh, two half brothers. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And then, from some dark recess of my mind came the idea that they had the same name, which sort of set the tone for the kind of father that he was. And then I went from there until the two sicko gentlemen here took over and took it to the next level, especially of fun, I have to say. They brought a lot of humor to it.
I always find it hard to come up with a sentence to describe a character because you spend the whole time working on it trying to make them three-dimensional and not one thing. But in this movie, we're seen in relationship to each other. And both of our lives in different ways have been dismantled by our childhood. And we find my character in the throes of trying to put himself back together. He's had addiction issues. He's lost his wife. He doesn't have a lot that brings him joy in his life, and his past is definitely a source of pain. And so in walks my brother that reminds me of all of it, who's having a different reaction to the same trauma. Now you go.
You're so good. You're impossible to
Really?
to follow, yeah, because you're so lucid and beautiful, poetic.
I thought
And I'm
I
like,
just died.
my character was.
name's Raymond. He wears a blue pork.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got some issues, and he's doing his best. Okay, so my character Raymond has also suffered from his father, from his experience with his childhood and from his father, but he has this very close relationship with his half brother Raymond. They grew up together. They had the same father but different mums, and it's written very beautifully. Their history is very.
It's really rich and well
really rich.
constructed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they talk about their mothers, and they love their mothers, and they both hate their father for different reasons. So Raymond, I think, has tried to deal with this, but through his life, has very unsuccessful relationships. He's had two divorces and has just recently been kicked out by his third partner. Things aren't going very well for him.
But he's so optimistic.
And I think he deals with it by trying to make order out of the chaos. Like, he really wants to. And he's very, very straight, and he likes things in a very certain way and specific way, which drives his partners crazy and leads him to be quite a lonely figure, I guess. So they're very different from each other, but at this given point in time, they really need each other, I think. They haven't seen each other for a while. It's been 5 years or 4 or 5 years.
They're not exactly sure when the last time they saw each other was.
That says a lot.
That says a lot. Yeah. But it was definitely a while ago.
Yeah.
No, I really always thought that I would work with Ethan. And, there was a period of time a long time ago when Ethan was making a movie called Gattaca with Jude Law, and I was mates with Jude, and so we sort of met each other. It's very misty for me. I don't really remember where, or maybe in LA, maybe in London.
We won't ask why it's misty.
Well, it was the 90s. So we knew each other from then, and also just knew each other from our work. And I always thought that I would work with Ethan. I always just thought that it was going to happen. It almost happened quite a long time ago in a movie, and then didn't for one reason or another. And so it's just taken all this time, but it was just brilliant. It was brilliant to work with you, and it was an amazing experience to work with you on this kind of writing, which doesn't come along very often. It was really a treat.
Yeah, there was a.
You followed me this time.
Well, yeah. Rodrigo and I were jurors together at Sundance, and we'd spend 10 days watching 18 movies together, talking about movies, and you feel really in sync with somebody. I know exactly how he feels about movies by watching all these movies with him. And we're at the airport, and he's like, I wanted to wait till this was over to not make you uncomfortable. I'm sure you won't want to do this. I'm sure you're busy. Please don't be uncomfortable. I have this script, and I'm like thinking, okay.
I emailed it from the airport. I was in
Yeah.
one terminal, and he was in the other. And
But
I
then
emailed
he
it.
drops at the end, and Ewan McGregor is attached. And I was like, aha. Why is Ewan attached before me? and no, I really thought, oh wow, if Ewan loves this, it must be good, and I hope it really is. And I think I texted you by the time I got off the plane that I loved it.
From the airplane.
Yeah, from the airplane.
Yeah, it's one of
I
the
read
best,
it.
one of the best texts I've ever received.
I read it immediately, and I couldn't put it down. And part of what made it so vivid was the quality of the writing, the strangeness of the writing, and also being able to imagine Ewan in this character that I hadn't seen him play, but I knew that I could see us doing it. And so I didn't think for more than 30 seconds about it. I finished the script and texted Rodrigo, I'm in.
A great moment. What can I tell you? I highly recommend it.
And then we got lucky. Both of us are really busy, and we kind of it fell into place really nicely in our lives, and so it was that lucky experience where you get to go to set with this feeling of gratitude that I can't believe that the stars align, that we get to not only do something together, do something with a man we both admire, who we knew separately, and get to each have a great character.
I mean, I wrote it, years earlier, and I think when you're writing, it's part of the process to go through. Who could it be? Who could it be? Is this, while you're developing the character, your idea of the character changes. But, I'd worked with Ewan before in the previous movie that I'd done. So obviously I thought, well, I'm going to start here. He'd be great at this. I suggested Raymond. He could have come back and said, no, I prefer Ray. But no, we were in sync, and off we went.
It's an unusual story. It's an amazing actor's script because it's so unusual, and the characters are so, I found, gave us so much scope. They're very clear, but at the same time we could bring an awful lot to these characters, and it's about the playing of it. The plot is very solid and interesting and unusual, and at the same time the playing of it is what I could tell right from the word go was just going to be such a joy to play. Playing half brothers with Ethan, it's about what's not said, and the moments of silence, like we're driving in a car for a lot. There's many scenes in a car where when we're talking to each other, when we're not talking to each other, there's always this
When we're listening,
bond going on. Yeah. People are often talking about our dead father, and they're describing a man that we don't recognize. Everyone thinks he's a great guy, and they're describing all these different things. He speaks French, and he was amazing.
He does.
He has all these different religions, and we're both listening to other people, and that kind of reaction with each other is very amusing in the film. When we're both thinking to ourselves, who are they talking about?
And we've both done a lot of different kinds of movies, and one of the things that's really challenging about any kind of genre filmmaking is it's actually all about the plot, and you kind of color outside the lines. It's all about whether the Russians arrive at midnight and can you stop the train, and and this is almost like sheet music. There was a clear plot that was told, but with so much room for how it's played. And, as an actor, you just rejoice in that because you could actually just live inside these characters and know that the events of the movie are really emotional ones. They're not, there's things that happen inside them, which makes it matter who the actor is that plays it and who you're acting with, and it makes it so much more fun.